Howdy everybody. Dave here. We're going to do a Fantasy Grounds tutorial on how to create a module from A to Z. And I'm going to show you everything that I know how to do. And I don't know everything about Fantasy Grounds, but I'm going to try my darndest to show you guys how to create a module pretty efficiently. Now, I created a video about 3 weeks ago. It ended up being 3.5 hours long. There was just way too much information in it. It was too bloated, and I decided to scratch it. So this is a new video, and I hope you guys do enjoy it. And if you're asking yourself what a module is, a module can be several things in Fantasy Grounds. A module can be something that you store an adventure on. A module can be something that you create to store player-only data that only players can see, and a module can be a mod that only game masters and DMs, such as yourself, would be able to see with like all of your monsters and your items and stuff, so your players can't see them. So that's what a module is. And if you are a new person to Fantasy Grounds, you'll probably find this rather useful. But if you're a savvy veteran, and I know there's a whole ton of great Fantasy Grounds users out there, you guys already probably know everything about Fantasy Grounds, and this is pretty much out of probably not even going to be helpful for you because you already know how to do it. So, all right, creating a module. We're going to need some tools, guys. First thing we're gonna need is something to take your images out of a PDF, all of the data out of the PDF. So you can use Adobe. You can also, and it's on pretty much every computer, I think. You can also use Foxit Reader. You can use Foxit Reader, and they're actually pretty good. I use both of them because they do different things. So now we're going to be taking images out of a PDF and putting them into Fantasy Grounds. And you guys should already know how to create an image. You should know how to, make a JPEG. So I'm not going to show you how to do that. We're just going to take the finished images and upload them in. We're also going to take a look at putting a lot of raw data into Fantasy Grounds. So if you copy paste an entire page or 2, 3, 4 pages of a PDF, you'll be able to format it. You'll be able to put bold titles, you'll be able to italicize, you'll be able to put headers, you'll be able to do all kinds of cool stuff with that text. Now we're also going to need another tool called Notepad++, and it's free. You can get that online. And Notepad++ is basically going to take all of the line breaks out of the PDF when you copy it. Now most PDFs, when you copy that stuff and you just paste it right onto a journal page in Fantasy Grounds, it'll be all double space, sometimes triple space. So what the Notepad++ does is it basically, you paste it into that first, and then you highlight everything, and then you Control-J it to strip all of the bars out, and then it'll make it one big block of words. That's what you want. And then you take that, you copy it, and then you paste it in the Fantasy Grounds. And then you can follow along in your PDF and separate all the paragraphs, the headers, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that in one fell swoop. So we're also going to take a look at building an encounter, and also building a loot parcel, and also building a rollable table. So we're going to try to pretty much touch on every single thing that you would possibly need for Fantasy Grounds and building a module and having this module, and once we're done putting all this together, you'll export it into a .mod file, and you'll have this file forever as long as you don't lose it or delete it or anything. So if you want to run games with FGCon, Fantasy Grounds has a con that they do multiple times a year. You can run the same adventure if you want to and have new players every time. That way you never have to prep this only but once. If you want to play a new game that doesn't have an official plugin, maybe like Demon of the Shadow Lords, or maybe something like 13th Age or Fantasy Age, you can import all of the player data and the GM data separately, and you can have your own drag and drop stuff. And it is time consuming, but it's a one-time deal. So Anyways, we'll go ahead and get started. I've rambled on enough, and that's what a module can do. And we're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna show you guys how to do pretty much all of that stuff. The first thing you're going to want to do is create a campaign, and just hit the Create a Campaign button, and type whatever name you want in there to be your master campaign. Where you're saying, well, Dave, I thought you said this is creating a module, and well, this is creating a module, because you're going to have to create a campaign to store all of your information. And then once you're done, you can export that into that .mod file that I was talking about. And that .mod file will always be able to be updated, changed if anything's wrong. As long as you still have the original campaign mod, you can go back in and amend or put errata in there, anything you want to, and change it, and it'll automatically update that mod file for you. So it's really nice. So don't get rid of the campaign. Just kind of maybe store it in another folder or something like that. Or if you don't mind having a bunch of campaigns up there, just keep it there, and maybe label it something that you're going to be able to easily identify it. So for this video, I'm going to be using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set. So it comes free with Fantasy Grounds, so it's going to be pretty easy for everybody to use. We're going to drag and drop monsters, loot, all that good stuff. So name your campaign, and then choose the 5e rule set or whatever rule set you want. If the game doesn't have a rule set, then you will use the RPG Core RPG, and it does recognize all of the dice, and you can create your own sheets in there, your own monster sheets. You can also get a More Core extension that is on the Fantasy Grounds forums, which adds a lot, especially to the combat tracker and character sheets linked together. So that's a good thing as well. So we'll be using 5e for this. Name your campaign, start the game, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Alright everybody, as you can see, I've got my campaign created. It is an empty 5e shell. There's no information in it whatsoever. And when I create a module, I like to do everything very nice and neat and organized. And I have a system that I'm going to show you guys of how I do this. Now, I'm not running my webcam anymore for this video because I just don't. I know you guys want to see my beautiful face and all, but I just don't want my big fat head up in the way, covering stuff up to where you guys not going to be able to see some certain things. So sorry about that. Now you guys want to see my face, but no, not anymore for this video. Alright, so talking about organization, I'd love to have a module that's super organized, and I love to have everything in order, from GM notes at the beginning all the way to part 1, part 2, part 3, all the way down to the end. Now for this particular module that we're going to create, we're going to be using the Tomb of Tiberish. Alright, and this is an Egyptian-themed, really cool little Egyptian-themed adventure with a mummy that's, was one time was a ruler and then became a mummy, and then there's this tomb that's basically evil and has all kinds of curses. So the adventurers have to go in, find all of the artifacts that the Tiberish actually sold. So we're going to have fun putting this together. And I like how in a PDF you can take the images out. Like if I want to take that image out while using Adobe, I can take this gypsy, which her name is Galena Ilamasi. I can show the players as they meet Galena. I can show them this image, and when you do that, it basically stimulates your players' brains. Oh, okay, so this is what the gypsy looks like, and then you can kind of get into role play. Here's another image. This is the double doors to the entrance of the actual Tomb of Tiberish itself. So as they're at the entrance to the tomb, this is what I want to show them. So it's going to kind of put them in the mood, so to speak. Here's the actual Tomb of Tiberish. I'm going to have that in there. Every image here in this module will have in there. Here's the funerary complex. Here's a really cool scarab, and like a beetle scarab, And then there's also one more piece of art that has like a treasure chest and a scorpion, and we'll put that in there also. So we're going to take advantage of all of this art because that's what Dungeons and Dragons is all about. Is about fantasy and about seeing things that make you want to RP and roleplay and stuff. So images we're definitely going to use. All right. So I've already taken images out. I've already taken the map out. And to put these images into Fantasy Grounds, it's super simple. On the right hand side, go to your images and maps. And, you know, like I said, if you're already a veteran of Fantasy Grounds, you already know how to do this. This is for, you know, new folks to Fantasy Grounds. This is, you know, for them. So you can do it one of two ways. You can take an image, like here's the Tomb of Tiberius, the cover. You can just drop it right there. Or if you want to open the folder, you can see that there's my tomb in there now, and it is in the campaigns folder. And I renamed the campaign instead of just test campaign. I renamed this to Tomb of Tiberius 5e master file. So I know that this is always going to be the master file, and I'll be able to update it all the time. So I'm going to take a couple more images and drop them in there. Now, just going to X that out, and I can view the images. So here's Tiberius. Well, this isn't Tiberius. I'm going to have to rename this one, but this is actually the Gypsy. So, perfect. You know, I actually added a black border around it. It was a PNG image when I took it out of the PDF, but I put a white background behind it, and you guys should probably already know how to do this. So, now, when you're sharing an image, you right-click it, and on the left-hand side, you're going to see this big old cow head right here. It says sharing. Hit that, and then you're going to want to hit share sheet. And when you hit share sheet, it's going to basically pop up this image for everyone that's in the game. All right, so that's how you share an image. Here's my tomb entrance. You do the same thing to share it. Just right-click on the image, go to the guy shouting here, and just hit it, and then hit sharing again. Bam, share sheet, and it's you know, it'll share it to anyone. Now, if you want to share it to individual people, you can do that as well, and you'll need characters logged in. Now, in the upper left-hand corner, you guys, when you have a character logged in, they'll have the portraits up here. So all you'll want to do is just drag this and drop that image on their portrait up top, and then that way it'll open it up just for them. Or you can, you know, drag it and drop it on two individual people. Pretty cool, really cool feature. So here's my here's the cover of the adventure all together. I'm going to put that in there, and here's the lower level of the tomb. And you can, you know, expand that up, and you know, you can drag and drop, and well, you can't drag and drop, but you can drag the image size. You can also hold down Control, and you know, without using the handle, you just kind of make it the size that you want. You can mouse scroll, zooming in and out, and that's how you import maps and images. And I'm going to show you guys how to link these and all that good stuff. So you'll notice that this map in the PDF, unfortunately, this is a Dungeon Master map that has all of the secret locations and stuff. So I mean, this wouldn't be a very good map to show the players because they'll metagame the hell out of it. So that's when you're going to use Photoshop or Paint.net or GIMP or something like that, to where you can modify that and get rid of all the numbers and stuff. And you can do that easily just by using layers and cutting out one of these blocks and just setting it on top of the other numbers and stuff. So it's really easy to do. It's a little time consuming, but hey, it's worth it in the end. Or if you're a great cartographer, you could just make a new map on your own. Alright, so now what I also want to show you is when you buy Fantasy Grounds, there are also a bunch of free maps that are inside of Fantasy Grounds that a lot of people don't even know about. So how you activate those, because you have to manually activate those, you need to go to your library. Now, lower right hand corner, hit the library button, and we're going to click on lower left hand corner, click on modules. Now when you click on modules, you're going to see that you get a couple free map packs, and they are called FG Battle Maps. Okay, well, actually you get one free pack, and it's called FG Battle Maps. So all you want to do is just open that up, and when you open it up, voila, now it is in your library. And also, if you open up the images and maps, you'll have a tab down here that says FG Battle Maps. And in here's all kinds of cool maps that you get for free from Fantasy Grounds. It gives you some Underdark caves and tunnels. It gives you a couple street maps, and it also gives you some outdoor battle maps, caves, and stuff like that. So really cool. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to put basically a battle grid on one of these maps. So let's just open up any old map here, and this is how you put a grid on the map. You just open up the map that you want to put the grid on, because you have to have grids if you're going to be using tokens and whatnot. And if you don't have the grid on there, then the system's not going to recognize the size of the creature, the reach of the creature, etc., and etc. And you won't have a properly sized token. So you have to have a grid. So to put a grid on the map, it's super easy to do, guys, especially in Fantasy Grounds. You just right-click it, go to Layers, click on Layers, and then at the very bottom, it's a Set Grid. Now, to set the grid, you're going to have a new, sort of like a new pointer come up. And it's going to be a star. Now, you line this thing up perfectly to where you're going to be able to get a perfect square. And some maps will line up perfectly, some maps won't. It just depends on how the file was created and the file was saved. So these maps are actually really, really easy to put grids on. So once you get it lined up, you just hold down the left mouse button and you just drag it. And once you get to about 50, it's perfect for these maps. So you let go of it. Look at that, perfect. A perfect grid. And this map is ready to go now. Now, here's one more really quick thing to take into consideration as well, guys and gals. Now, at the top of the bar up here for your map, there is a hashtag. Now, if you open that up, that is the toggle grid toolbar. And if your grid doesn't line up perfectly, we'll say that the grid is off a little bit to the left and a little down. You'll see that you can take this navigation tool and you can just navigate it perfectly to where it'll line up. And there's also a plus and minus. Sometimes you'll make a grid a little bit bigger than what you should have made it, so you can hit the minus key to shrink that down 1 unit size. Or if you didn't make the grid big enough, you can enlarge it by 1 unit size with the addition key. So it really makes it easy to put a grid on the map. Alright, so after you got your grid, you want to put Fog of War. That's, if you want the players to kind of have that mystery as to not being able to see the whole entire map. So to put Fog of War on a map, you right click it, go to Layers again, and then on the right hand side, hit Enable Mask. And when you enable Mask, boom, it puts a gray fog. The players can't see anything but a pure black canvas. Now, make sure the little smiley face is basically smiling at you and highlighted, and you can just go ahead and uncover the map as they pretty much explore this place. And then, as they come into the first room, you can say, oh, okay, you can see there's an entrance to the east and to the south. And then, as the characters come to the south, then you can go ahead and open up this down here and say, okay, another identical chamber with another corridor going east and south, and et cetera, et cetera. And as the characters move around, you would unlock, or basically uncover more of the map. So it gives the players a sense of, hey, what's around this corner? We can't see these tokens and whatnot. So, and especially with the combat tracker, how you're able to keep tokens invisible, I really love that. So, alright, so that's pretty much everything to do with maps, putting a grid on them, also putting a Fog of War or mask layer on there. So, and like I said, don't forget to activate your free maps, because they do come with Fantasy Grounds, and they're actually really nice maps. Alright, so next let's go ahead and take a look at some tokens. So to put tokens into your Fantasy Grounds game is the same way as pretty much doing the maps and images. And all you want to do is just take and go to the GM folder, hit the GM folder. These are all the tokens that you will be able to access. There's a shared button down here, and the shared button are tokens that your players can have access to. Then there's a module button here, and then the store button. And the store button basically will bring you to the Fantasy Grounds store and show you tokens for sale. Now, as for the modules, there are also some free tokens that you will get in Fantasy Grounds. Actually, really nice top-down tokens or pogs. So you can go ahead and hit the modules, and we'll activate those. So these animal pogs, you can get the pogs are the circle pictures with the circle rim around it, and then here's the animal tokens. So you can have those in pogs, or you can have them at top-down clear PNGs. All my tokens, you can see, have a gray base at the bottom, because it gives me that sense of I'm actually really picking up that token and putting it on the table with the square base and whatnot. So I've done that with all my tokens. It took forever, but it was well worth it to me, and I like that. So you get the animal pogs. So there's two sets of tokens. You'll also get the character pogs, which are all kinds of NPCs, humans, elves, whatnot. You'll get those in pogs and tokens, and you can just go ahead and activate them. Just drag the books open, and it will just continue to add more bags of tokens to your game. And scroll down, here is a letters and a letter token, so you get those as well. And I believe there's monsters. So yes, there's monster pogs, monster tokens. So you get actually quite a bit of free stuff from Fantasy Grounds, which is actually really nice. And then here's the bags. Here's your animal pogs. Those are all the animal pogs you get. All right. Then here's the animal tokens. So you can see now they don't have the circular rim around them. They're just clear top-down PNGs. And let's see, here's the character pogs, and then the character tokens, and you can see rinse and repeat, and they give you a lot for free. I mean, it's really nice, and it's not like these aren't junky or anything. I mean, these are actually really nice. I mean, there's actually a lot of monster tokens. I mean, there's gelatinous cubes and fire elementals, and these things look good, man. These things are really nice. They're not junk, that's for sure. So you have access to free tokens. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people are like, oh man, I never knew that. So now you do. All right, and then you can import those and organize them any way you'd like. All right, so we've already taken care of all that. So now we know how to upload images. We know how to put a mask on there for Fog of War. We know how to go ahead and put a grid on a map, and we know how to upload tokens. So let's go on to the next section. Okie dokie. So the next part of this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at building encounters with monsters, building EXP parcels for quest. We're going to be building loot parcels, and we're going to be building a rollable table. Now, I'm not really building the module yet. And remember, I talked about being organized. And all of this that I'm doing now, like uploading the images, the tokens, the maps, Fog of War, all of the, putting all of the grids on the maps, this is what I call legwork. And once I get all of this done, then I can put everything together. Copy pasting text, that's the easiest thing to do. And that's what, the last portion of the tutorial is going to be about. So once we have all of that done, I don't have to, when you're building the module, there's nothing more frustrating than, you're on a roll, you're getting all your paragraphs separated, you're getting all of the formatting that you want done, your titles, and then all of a sudden you need an image. So you have to stop what you're doing, you're on a roll, then you have to, take the image, make it a file, upload it in, or build an encounter. So that's why I like to do this first. It's not, it's not the wrong way, it's not the right way. It's just the way that I do it, and everybody does things differently. And that's the beautiful thing about mankind. If everybody did everything the same, this world would be a very boring place. So continuing on. All right, first thing I'm going to do is build a encounter. And the encounter is going to be basically, it's going to be attached to the map. It will be also attached to the primary handout for that particular location. Now remember, we are doing the Tomb of Tiberish. And the first encounter that I can actually see is in location 8 in the storage room. And it's basically where you kind of fall upon 4 gnolls that are grave robbers. So we are going to go ahead and build an encounter for a gnoll pack lord and 3 gnolls. And that's going to be really easy. I know those are in the monster manual for D&D 5th edition. So we will go ahead and build this encounter. So the first thing we want to do is import our monsters that we're going to be using in. All right. And when you make your campaign, much like the maps, you don't have anything loaded, so you have to go to your modules again and put any kind of sources that you want for information. For this, I'm just going to use the Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual that I purchased from the FG store, so I know that the gnolls and the gnoll pack lord is already there. All right, it may be in the 5e SRD. I'm not too sure. I haven't opened them up, but those are free, and it does come with Fantasy Grounds, which is, I mean, that's really awesome. All right, so what I want to do first is open up my NPCs tab. Now, it's empty. It has nothing in it whatsoever. Now, I want to go to the NPCs, and I'm going to go to alphabetical index, and I'm just going to type in gnoll. Okay, so there you go. I got the gnoll popped up, so I'm going to drag the gnoll in here, and I'm going to drag the gnoll pack lord. So those are my first 2 NPCs that I'm putting into the module. All right, I'm done with this. I don't need this anymore for the encounter. All right, boom. Those are the 2 monsters that I need. Now I need to build the encounter. So you click on the encounter button up here at the top, and this basically works in tune with your basically your party sheet. And once you have your party you have your parties logged into the game, you'll drag and drop them onto the party sheet, and then therefore the encounter parcel will grant them the proper XP. That's if you're using EXP. D&D also uses a milestone system, which is what I use. But if you're still into the numerical part of it, where you want to add 20, 30 XP at a time, you can do that, and you can just drag and drop a parcel when you have it created into the party sheet on XP, and it'll literally divide everything up depending on who's in the party, and bam, it'll award them the XP. Really cool. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So, all right, so let's create an encounter. Right click on the encounters. When you open up the encounter, it'll pop up here. We need to create this new encounter. All right, so we're going to click on it, and we are going to name this encounter Lower Tomb Roommate. Okay, that's what it is. Now, we don't have any monsters in here. To do that, we got to drag the monsters in here. Drag the gnoll in there. Drag the warlord. Oh wow, look at that! I have tokens in there too. And I did this on purpose. I'm going to show you guys how to change your tokens too. So go into the gnoll character sheet and hit the unlock. When you unlock it, you'll be able to put a token in there. I have a bunch of gnoll tokens already, and I like my gnoll tokens better than the D&D art. So what I'll do is I will take this gnoll here and drag it on, and he'll be the gnoll now. All right, I'll lock it back up, close it, and that saves it. Anything that's in the NPC folder, that it'll save it. So here's the gnoll lord. Let's go ahead and get the gnoll with the big axe. Let's go ahead and get him in there. He'll be the gnoll lord. Okay, lock that back up. Now you just delete these. All right, because I wanted to show you that. There you go. Now when you do it, your correct tokens will come up on your character sheet. So we don't need the NPCs anymore. We can just shut that. Now we want to change this to 3 gnolls. Remember, there's 3 gnolls and 1 gnoll pack lord. Perfect. All right. Now, there's 3 nulls, 1 pack reward. So we want to open up our map. All right, see, now that we have this, you can go ahead and refresh the CR and it mathematically calculates it for you. It is a challenge rating 4 encounter and it's worth 750 experience. So all you would have to do to award your players this experience is once they have to be in this party sheet, okay? Then that would be on the main tab, the players. Then for the XP, you would just go ahead and drag this lower tomb 8. Voila, look at that. It puts lower tomb 8 in there as a CR4 and it's worth 750. Well, once your party's in the tab, they will show up here by default here. And all you do is you just hit award. And when you hit award, it adds their experience automatically. The players don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Fantasy Grounds takes care of it for you, and it is awesome. And then a little radial button will fill up black, and it'll say awarded yes. So, and guys, we're going to be able to make a quest reward, and we're also going to make a loot parcel. And this party sheet, guys, this is a dungeon master's best friend in Fantasy Grounds. It will literally award the loot to people. It'll divide the money. It will divide the quest parcel XP. Everything. All right, it's really nice. All right, so this is encounters. Bam, this is how we create an encounter. And now let's go ahead and put these goblins. Well, I'm sorry, not the goblins, but the gnolls on the map. So let's go back to our images and maps, and we will open up our tomb Tiberius lower level. Okay, so here is our room number 8. On the lower tomb of Tiberius. Now what we want to do is we want to put these gnolls in our map, and it will save the gnolls, it'll save the positions of the gnolls, and every time we use the adventure and put these in the combat tracker, it will literally pop the gnolls up on the map for us. It is beautiful. So let's go ahead and put our 3 gnolls here. So you want to grab the individual tokens down here and put each one. See, now where there's a grid, see how it actually scaled the token to the correct grid size. And I placed the first gnoll there and it put a check mark there, so it's saved on the map. Next one is saved. Next one is saved, and then we'll put our gnoll pack lord in the front. Alright, perfect. That's how you do it, guys. That's how you save an encounter. I mean, it's totally easy. Now when you X out of it, it disappears, but that's no problem, because anytime that you want to just go ahead and add this encounter to the tracker really quick, you don't have to open up the monster index or nothing, because we're going to link this encounter right to our module. So all of the data is going to be there. And you know, whenever you want to basically have the encounter, all you do is you just open it up and your encounter is right here, and see this little arrow that's pointing down? This is the add encounter to combat tracker. Now you just hit that button and look at that. It adds the tokens invisible to the map and also into the tracker and rolls their initiative. Isn't that sweet as hell? I mean, it is amazing. And then as the party busts through the door, you know, they kick in the door like they're playing Munchkin or something, you hit the show all NPC button up here, or you can, you know, hit the eyeball individually, and boom, there's all of our tokens. And the initiative's already rolled. You tell your players to roll initiative, they roll, combat's on. The combat tracker auto-organizes all of the initiatives from highest to lowest, game on. And then you can just go ahead and X out this encounter. You don't need it anymore. It's as simple as that, guys, putting an encounter into Fantasy Grounds. And like I said, guys, this is a little time consuming. But once you get all of this set up, it's a one-time deal. You don't ever have to worry about it again. Alright, so let's go ahead and now we'll take a look at the next portion of this, and that's an EXP partial. Okay guys, so when you create an EXP reward or a quest EXP parcel, it pretty much does the same thing as the monster encounter parcel that you created, and you access your quest EXP parcels by clicking on the story tab in the upper right hand corner. Now the story tab is where we're going to be putting all of our information once we start building our module. And inside of this this pane here, there's going to be a quest button. When you click on the quest button, it will open up a quest box, and you just create a new quest by right clicking and hitting create item, or you can come down here and hit the editing list, but it's just quicker to hit the right click. Now open this thing up and type in the amount of XP, say that's worth 500 XP once you complete the quest, and we'll name it the Lugo Centini. Lugo Centini is one of our our NPCs that is inside of the module. Even though this doesn't have any kind of EXP related to it, I'm going to go ahead and just create one just to show you guys how to do this, because a lot of other modules, whether you play D&D 5e, 4e, or Pathfinder 3.5, a lot of adventures give you XP as well. So now for the description, we'll say this is the EXP reward for completing the quest from Old Lugo. Alright, and then we're done. You just lock it up, X out of it, and the same thing. This will also be linked into our module, so you'll never have to go in there and open up the quest. I mean, if you want to, that's fine, but every bit of information that we're going to be pulling from is going to be from the story tab in the end. But like I said, we haven't started throwing this together yet. We will next section of the video. All right, so this works the same way. You remember I was talking about the party sheet. This is a DM's best friend, man, in Fantasy Grounds. Take this Lugo Centini EXP quest reward, drop it in there. As you can see, there it is, worth 500 EXP. Click on the little red dragon, and there you go. There's the information for it, and you can even put more detail in there. It's unlimited data, so you can put as much information as you want in there. And then to remember, I have no characters in here, so you're gonna have to drag and drop all your characters that are in the game in the main tab, and then it'll bleed over to the EXP tab, show all the party members that are in the group, and then all you would do, just like the monster encounter, you would just hit award, bam, it will take that 500 and divide it. So if there's 4 people in the party, 4 people would get 125 apiece, and it would automatically divide it. It's awesome. Beautiful. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at a treasure parcel now. Alright, so now to create a loot parcel, we're going to refer back to the PDF, and we're going to go back to room 8 on the lower portion of the actual tomb. And remember, we set the encounter up for 3 gnolls and a gnoll pack lord. Well, when you dispatch them, if you do dispatch of them, then in the room there is 3 boxes basically, and the boxes are worth 5 gold apiece, and inside the boxes they have a chance of having a potion that evaporated long ago, but the unbroken vial is still worth 1 gold. So that's really easy. I basically went ahead and made all of the items already, so you guys won't have to watch me do that. So if you're going to create an item, and guys, go to your library, activate all of the 5e SRD stuff, all of the magic items, all of the player data. It will have all kinds of stuff in there, and you just drag and drop those items. So remember, the gnolls, they were using longbows, they also had spears, and the gnoll lord, he had a glaive. So we are going to go ahead and put our loot parcel together now. So whenever you're in the items, this is where you're going to drop all this stuff in here. Alright, and then hit the parcel button, and when you hit the parcel button, it's going to pull up the parcel pane. And to build the loot parcel, just right click like you did creating a monster encounter and creating the EXP quest encounter, and just fill it in. So this is lower tomb, room 8. Nice spell there, Dave. Alright, so let's go ahead, and now that we have the title in here, let's go ahead and drag and drop this stuff. So we know that there were 3 bronze boxes, so we'll put 3 boxes in there. We'll say that there were 3 empty vials too. And then we'll say that, well, there was 1 glaive, and there were a total of 4 longbows because each gnoll had a longbow, and then there were 3 spears from the gnolls. So that's all of the physical loot, and then you can also add monetary rewards as well. So we'll say that the gnoll lord had 1 gold, and then we'll say that the other gnoll grunts, they had about 3 silver apiece. So they had 9 silver between the 3 of them. So our loot parcel is made. Piece of cake, isn't it? Now you just lock that up, X out of it, and this works the same way as rewarding your players XP from a quest or rewarding your players from an encounter. Now go to the party sheet again. Like I said, it's your best friend. Now remember, your characters are going to be in here. Remember, there's none in here. So go to the inventory tab now. When you go to the inventory tab, you'll drop that loot parcel in here, which is the Lower Tomb Room 8 loot parcel, and you just drop the treasure parcel right in there. Look at that. It adds all of the items into the party sheet. Now, it will automatically divide everything up with the party, all right? Then it'll automatically, and in fact, I would probably put an even amount of money in there to kind of, maybe the Gnoll Lord had 4 gold because there's 4 party members, so everybody would get, a even 1 gold, and maybe there were a total of 12 silver. Each one had 4, so yeah, no problem, or 3. So that's not a problem. So that will divide that money evenly between all the party members. Nobody will be fighting over the 1 gold or nothing like that. Items, to assign an item to someone, you just type the name in there. So if and it has to be the entire name, and it is case sensitive. So if nobody wants anything, just delete it out. If the people want the bronze boxes because they're worth 5 gold apiece, then go ahead and type in 3 names if you want. If 2 people want longbows, delete 2 and put 2 party members' names in there. It's as easy as that. And then after that, all you do is you just hit the button right here that says distribute and assignments on all the loot, and then it'll send all the money to the character sheet of those people, and it'll send all those items to the particular player that you're assigning those items to that player. It is beautiful. Nobody has to do anything. It's already taken care of with the party sheet, and you just put a little bit of preparation like this, you're golden. So that's how you make a loot parcel. Now let's go ahead and move on. Alright everybody, lastly we're going to take a look at rollable tables, and we're going to do just a basic rollable table in this module creation. Now you can get pretty complex with these rollable tables, and to access your rollable tables, just go to the top right, second button down on the left hand side. It's the tables button. When you open it up, you'll be able to create your tables here. So here you'll notice that I got a bunch of tabs down here. These are because I have the Dungeon Master Guide opened up, I have the Monster Manual opened up, and the Player's Handbook. So, and I kind of want to show you guys about the tabs too, so this is a perfect opportunity. Now, all of these tabs are blue. These are all the D&D 5e stuff that I've opened up my modules. Like I said, PHB, DMG, MM, all of those tables are here. Now, the default, when you create a module, default in the Story tab, the Images tab, the NPCs tab, the Items tab, and those 4 tabs, the first tab that pops up will be your default tab for that module that you're creating. So it will show up along with the rest of these, and you can change the color and the icon on this tab. So if you want to make sure you know where your Tomb of Tiberish tabs are in your story, your maps and images, NPCs and items, go ahead and just right click that and change it to whatever icon you want or whatever color. So the style or the colors and the banner flag types, and then you can cycle through all the icons. So you can have like a green banner with a sword, and you would do that for all 4 of these tabs. So therefore, down the line, every time you'd open up one of these 4 tabs, story, images, NPCs, or items, you'll see all the green sword tabs, and you'll say, oh, that's the Tomb of Tiberius. That's where I can easily access all that information. So, like I said, right click, you can change the cycle. You can cycle through a ton of different icons and a ton of different colors, and you can also delete the groups, and you can always add more groups. So if you want to have another tab and kind of separate things in a module, then you can add another tab, and therefore it'll save it. And then whenever you make your mod file and whenever you import it into your campaign and play the module, like you're going to run some people through it, then that's when you'll be able to tell that you got the green sword with the the banner. So it'd be easy to find for you. So that's a little bit of extra information for you. And rollable tables. Now, like I said, rollable tables can get pretty complex, and I like that because an example is you can literally, and I'm not joking, you can take a bunch of rollable tables, all these loot tables, link them all together and roll, and it will create a loot parcel. So if you go and kill Tiamat, you can have a dragon horde basically generate all by itself. And the great thing about that table, you can export it. Fantasy Grounds will automatically export it into a loot parcel for you. So you won't have to drag and drop all the loot. It will literally do it for you automatically. Or if you want to output it into a story tab, it will do that for you also, which is amazing. I love that. So I have an advanced tutorial that talks about that, and you can check that out on the YouTube channel. Alright, so let's go ahead and make a basic rollable table. Now, in the Tomb of Tiberius, there are no rollable tables, and I want to create a rumor table, because you start the Tomb of Tiberius, even though it is like a plug-and-play adventure, you can put it in anywhere. We'll say that they started in a small little village and there's a lot of gypsies, so obviously there's going to be some rumors going abound. So let's go ahead and right-click inside of here. You can right-click again or hit the edit button and create, but I always like to just right-click and create the table. So we'll just name the table the rumor table. Alright, and we'll put a description in here. This is a table of rumors about the Tomb of Tiberius. Alright, so there we go. That is the description. And you can basically, like I said, you can use this output button. You can also hit the edit button over here. And it also has a tab to where if you want to put a bunch of information on the notes, you can do that also. So when you hit the edit button, it's going to add columns, and I wouldn't worry about that now because adding the columns is what makes the tables more complex, and you can roll from multiple tables at one time too. So like I said, we're not worrying about that. We want to just add a couple more rows. So we'll add like 5. We'll add 5 rows. We'll have 5 rumors. So all you want to do is just, basically you can do it a couple ways. You can leave these blank. Well, you won't leave them blank, but you can just type in 3, and each one will be weighted evenly. So there will be no rumors that are going to have more of a chance to pop up. So we'll just call this rumor 1, rumor 2, rumor 3, rumor 4, rumor 5. Now, we don't have a D5 dice, okay? And we can't use a D10 and divide it by 2, so because it wouldn't be accurate. So what we could do is just leave this blank, and when you leave the custom die blank, it will automatically by default take this right here, and it'll roll a 1d5. And then here we'll put our rumors. Alright, so let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's roll this. So we rolled a 5 on the table. We rolled a 3. So there you go. That's how we would do that. And you can add more numbers. You can weight, you can weight the table. You can have more rumors that are more rare that'll pop up less often, or you can, have a wider range of numbers and stuff like that. So, and you can also, if you got 20 roomers on there, you can drag and drop a D20 and add it in there too. You can add any dice you want. So, and the output, you can, like I said, leave it on chat for this type of a table, and then the output, it'll literally create a story tab. Now check this out. If you did that, look at that. Wow, it creates a roomer table for you and puts it in the story tab. Or if you're making that dragon parcel, you would just click it, bam, and it would output it into the loot parcels, and it would put it in your parcel box. I mean, it's amazing the tables can do that. So alright, there's lootable tables, and like I said, you can drag it. We're going to drag and drop all this stuff now. And guys, all of the leg work is done. We've got everything made. We've got our images, we've got our monster sheets done, we've got our loot parcel done, we've got everything done. It's time to copy paste text, format it, put all of our links in there, and have a ready to go module. So let's start that now. Alright everybody, I am excited. We have got all of the hard work done. We've got all the legwork done. We are ready to put this module together. So let's go ahead and open up the story tab, which is where we're going to be putting all of our journal entries, and it's on the right hand side towards the top. And we're going to want to name our primary tab that we're going to basically store all of the different sections of the module in. So we will go ahead and put this in parentheses, and we will call this main story for Tomb of Tiberish. Alright. Now make sure you put that in brackets, because if you don't, it will put in alphabetical order with everything else, and then you'll have to roll through everything and find it. So make it easy on yourself. Put it in parentheses. It'll keep it at the top by default. Now this is a tab where we're going to keep everything, all of our information. So you're going to be able to do a lot of editing with this. You're going to be able to italicize, you're going to be able to bold, you're going to be able to do headers, real thick lettering, you're going to be able to make little tables, you're going to be able to do bullet points, you're going to be able to do chat boxes, you're going to be able to do all kinds of stuff just by right clicking and using the different paragraph, the paragraph types. And like I said, tables, you'll be able to add links, you'll be able to do bullet point lists, headings, regular text, chat frames, all that stuff. So it's really nice, and hopefully when the new Fantasy Grounds comes out, it'll give us even more options. So, and like be able to change the text color and stuff. So what I want to do is I want to put the cover of the Tomb of Tiberish on here. So I just open up my images and drag it right on there. So this is the cover. Alright, and then I'm going to highlight that, and you can right click this and go to formatting and hit B for bold, or if you highlight it, you can just control B and it'll bold it. So there you go. There's my cover, and if I want to show the party the cover, hey, go for it. Hey, look guys, here's an Egyptian themed adventure. Right click it, you hit sharing, and then share again, and it'll share. Now next, as I look inside of the PDF, I want to start looking at what is in the module. So as I open up the module, it has looks like a for the GM section. Alright, and then it goes to part 1. So I am going to make a for the GM tab, and I'm going to put this pretty much with our images here in the story. Alright, now also I want to show you something else. I mean, if you hit enter, it's going to put basically another empty spot to put another image there. So just go ahead and delete that. When you delete that, just go ahead and get rid of it, and just hit enter a couple times, and that way save yourself the trouble. That way you can work without it. You can use your arrow keys by going up and down and putting things in there where you want it. So I've learned to do that after making a couple modules. So Next, I want to do the For the GM tab. So I'm going to go back to my Story tab, create one, and we are going to call this For the GM. All right. And this is all the information for the GM. And as you can see, it kept, even though F is before M, the parentheses kept our main Story tab up top. So now I want to take the For the GM information here, I want to highlight it, and then I want to Control B it to bold it. Now here I have my empty journal. Now I want to take every single bit of this information on these first 2 pages, everything that has about the history of the tomb, the synopsis, the city of Anu Asir that the tomb is by, Tiberish, and the Golden Falcon Antiquities. I want to have all of this information within that For the GM. So PDFs work pretty, sometimes they're made kind of weird, but meaning by layers. So when you go to highlight everything, sometimes you may not be able to highlight it. So as you can see, For the GM is on its own layer. So go under that, and then you would just highlight pretty much everything. Control C and copy it. Now remember, we talked about having that wonderful program called Notepad++. Now, Notepad++ is what gets rid of all of these line breaks and stuff, because I'm going to show you right now. For the GM, we're going to put this in here. All right, we're gonna call this For the GM, and we're going to right-click this, and we're going to go to Paragraph Types, and we are going to make this a header. So it's going to make a really nice big fat header for us. Okay. Now I also want to get a little bit of extra room here. Now I want to copy paste all that information here for the GM. So look at that, man. That's an absolute mess. So I would literally have to sit here and do this, and I mean it wouldn't take that long. But let's just go ahead and we'll just go ahead and Control Z this a couple times, and then we'll open up our Notepad++. We'll paste all of that information in here from the first page, and then we'll go ahead and put page 2 in there also, because remember, there was 2 pages of information for the GM. So I've got, let's see, both pages now are copied, and I will paste page number 2 with Control V is pasting. Now you're going to see here it is. Here's everything in the line. So you want to Control A this. When you Control A it, it'll select everything, and then hit Control J. When you hit Control J, look at that big massive block of text, but that's okay. That's what you want. Now Control C that, copy it, and now put it into your For the GM tab. And now look, when you've copied in there, there's a huge block of text that you don't have to worry about anything except for formatting it to the way the PDF is. So for the GM, we will go ahead and start formatting this text. And hopefully I wish the PDF would stay up there. So let's kind of, let's see, we'll say we need to go to history. So here's history. We will get rid of that. We'll put history. It is a header. And then now we will go ahead and this was italicized, so you can Control I that. It will italicize it. The history, it was a header. Now we can go ahead and right click that and make that a header, make it nice and bold, and now we start formatting everything, and it just works out so beautiful. Okay, so now we have some paragraphs that we need to worry about, and you just go through the PDF and get it, where everything is, paragraphed, and then you get all the, get all the headers in there, and make sure it looks nice. All right, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Okay, so I've fast forwarded this a little bit, and as you can see, everything matches up to the PDF. And this took me literally about 2 minutes to do 2 pages of information. So if that, as you can see, here's the history, the synopsis, here's the synopsis, the city of Anusur, and everything has, the headers, and you just right click on that within, because everything works in paragraphs on this. So if I was to, for instance, if I was to right click this and hit the paragraph types and do bold, look, it would bold the whole paragraph. So everything works in paragraphs in this. So make sure you highlight something if you want to bold it. Okay, and like I said, you can Control B, or if you just want to make something a like a title, real thick title text or heading text, then you would just go inside of this anywhere on the line, hit the paragraphs type, bam, heading. Alright, so the city, and then we have after the city it talks about Tiberish. Looks like the Golden Falcon Antiquities is the last thing. Now we're done. First 2 pages are done. Now the next part is part 1, Brave Souls Wanted. So now I'm going to go back here and create another tab and put part 1, Brave Souls Wanted. Part 1, Brave Souls Wanted. Now I'm going to put this in 2 spots. I like to have all of my modules kind of organized where everything is nice, neat in a row, and I'm going to put this right at the bottom. I'm going to bold it. That way I can just go right to part 1. Alright, now that I'm done with that, I just hit the lock button and I'm done. Piece of cake. Part 1 is done. Now also on the main story tab, because remember here's the main story tab, I want to take part 1, Brave Souls Wanted, and put it up here too. We'll put that up there, and we will also bold this. So part 1 is basically all of the information on the adventure as you're in basically the area that you're plugging this adventure into. And part 1 has all the hooks, negotiating for exploring the tomb, the adventure hooks, and this piece of art for the entrance to the tomb. I wouldn't put this in part 1. I would wait till part 2, which is actually exploring the tomb. So I would save this image for part 2. But what I would do is I would take this gypsy here, which is Galena Ilamasi, and I would take her image that I've already got uploaded, and I would put her image with the text for that gypsy. So Galena Ilamasi. And here is basically public text that would be read aloud to all the players. So I would also put this in a like a text or a chat bubble as well. So let's go ahead and do part 1. As you can see, it's on different layers as well. So you just kind of have to be careful with the PDFs and figure out what layer the text is on. So, alright, so I'm going to go do this really quick, and when I come back I'll have this part 1 all set up for you. See you in a couple minutes. Alright, so all of the line breaks have been taken out of part 1, Brave Souls Wanted. I've got everything separated, everything in its own paragraph. I've got everything bolded. I've got all of the headers on there, and I want to show you guys what I'm going to do here with the narration text. Now, as you can see, after the first paragraph in Brave Souls Wanted, there is a narrated box of text where you start the adventure. So this would be starting with the combination of the desert sun beating down on you. So it's the second paragraph. So when we want to put something in a narrative or like a text bubble box, you just right click on the entire paragraph, go to the paragraph types, and then click on the T here with the box around it for chat frame. And it's literally, guys, it is as simple as that. I mean, it is a piece of cake. Now remember, for a header, we want to make sure that we right click on what we want to put as a header and basically click heading. Alright, now I've bolded their names, and remember, we have an image of Mrs. Galena Ilamasi. So I want to open up my images, and I want to take this Galena Ilamasi image that we have, and I want to take this and put it right here for easy access. So you can see, whenever we're going through the adventure, they meet the NPCs. Hey, here's an image of Galena Ilamasi. You do this, you just click on it, right click it, share it to all the members of the party, and voila, they can see what Galena looks like. So piece of cake. You utilize all of the art that's in the PDF, and your players will appreciate that. Believe me, they really will. Now I've got everything else finished. We've got everything with negotiating and adventure hooks, as you can see. I've also bolded everything that needed to be bolded, and like I said, to bold, you just highlight what you want to bold and hit Control B. It's as simple as that, guys. Now, to keep everything nice and organized, to go to part 2. Part 2 is called Exploring the Tomb. So this is where all of the rooms are going to be. So now that we've I went ahead and I made another journal page on our story tab, and it is called Part 2, Exploring the Tomb. So let's go ahead and click on that. As you can see, now it is all totally empty, and now it's just rinse and repeat, guys. You just continue to do all of this. Now this room, now let's take a look here. Now remember, we've got our image from before for the entrance, so I'm going to utilize that image at the beginning of this as you're in the causeway and you're exploring the tomb. So we'll utilize that image. And there's also how many rooms here? There are, it looks like a total of 10 rooms here. So what I'll do is I will literally make 10. I will make basically 10 more journal pages. Yeah, it looks like there's 4, 4A, 4B, 8, 6, 10. And we're gonna and I'm gonna worry about doing journal number 8 next, because I want to put the map in there. I want to also put our loot parcel in there, our encounter. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that next. So let me go ahead and I'm going to make some journal entries. Basically the way it's going to look is when you click on Part 2, Exploring the Tomb, it is going to have the introduction like it does in the PDF. All right, and then it's going to have 1, 2, 2A, 2B, all the way down to 10, where it'll stop, and then it'll go to the upper chambers, but we won't worry about that. We're just going to label this, get this nice and organized, and then we'll take a look at 8. So let me get all of the journal pages made for rooms 1 through 10, and I'll be right back. Alright, everybody, so I took a couple minutes, probably about 2-3 minutes, and did part 2. Part 2 turned out really, really nicely. Now, as I was mentioning in the PDF, we're going to get this separated more into room numbers, as in instead of just a straight wall of text all the way down. So the Exploring the Tomb pretty much left that the same, as you can see here, and then I added the entrance to the tomb. I added that image there so you can show your players. Then I went ahead and I added the entire map of the lower level map of the Tomb of Tiberish, and I left that here. Now I also want to show you how to, once you have your map up, there's really no reason to even keep this up anymore. I mean, you can minimize this. You can right click it and minimize and put the little minimize token down here, but there's really no need, because once you have this map up, we can just basically embed all of the different rooms. And as you can see, after the map and the entrance, I basically made journals for every single room to make it nice and organized. So what I mean by linking this up is this. Now you can drag and drop each entry into its corresponding area. Really cool. Like room for 1 example. You just take the red dragon, drag it, and boom, it puts a pin there. That way, when you open up the tomb, after you show them the image, you open up room 1, bam, there's everything that has to do with room 1. Then you go to room 2, bam, there's room 2. Room 2A, bam. So everything is nice and neat and organized, and you can move these, you can put these pins anywhere that you want. Room 3, I mean, here's room 3. I mean, you just keep going and going and going, and here's room 8. This is what I want to show you. So here's room 8. You would pop this up, Here's all of the text. Here's the text that you would read to your players as they, Munchkin style kick in the door, and boom, there's the 4 grave robbers, being the 3 gnolls and the Gnoll Pack Lord. So let's go ahead and add our encounter and our loot parcel in here. Remember, previously in the video we already made our encounter and we made the loot parcel. So go to your NPCs, then remember it's in the encounters tab, and then your lower tomb room 8. This is exactly where we're at. Bam, there's the encounter. Now for the items, remember, go to your parcels. After you click items, go to parcels, and there's lower tomb room 8. Piece of cake. And then you just highlight those. You B for bold them if you want to, bold them, or you can even change the, you could change the text form. We'll put loot parcel here, and then we'll put Gnoll encounter. How about that? And it does not change the chat. It does not change the text in the parcel box for the loot or for the encounter. So it's really nice, guys. And once you have the encounter, so you now have this set up, because remember, previously we placed the tokens on the map and everything. So you would just basically just click this open. You don't have to go into the NPCs. You don't have to open anything, guys. Everything is right here in front of you, and that's the beautiful thing about setting it up this way. And then remember, to generate, you just open up your combat tracker, upper right hand corner, and you would just hit the add encounter to combat tracker. You hit that, boom, it adds the tokens. It already rolls the initiative form. They're here. They're on top of the G's, but you just hit the eyes, bam, they show up. We're ready to rock. The players move in. They see the gnolls. Nobody's surprised. Well, in fact, maybe the gnolls may be surprised if the party goes up and does some kind of perception check for any kind of sound or anything. So there you go. That's how you set this up, guys. I mean, it is as simple as that, and it is just rinse and repeat. Adding all of the data is the last thing, and as you can see, this is so fast to do. It literally took me maybe a minute to, once everything, all the legwork was done, all the maps were already uploaded. Can you imagine trying to do all this as you're going? That would be a total pain in the ass. So get everything imported first, get your encounters built, get all of the encounters on the map, get all the items and the loot parcels, get all that stuff built, so when you're entering all of your data onto your, however the way you want to present the module to yourself, you just drag and drop this stuff onto the journal pages. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, this is the whole entire team, and this is about as nice and neat and organized as you can get. So, and it would just continue on to part 3 and then part 4 of the module. So I think I've showed you guys enough to how to create a module. So let's go ahead and go to the very final part, and I'm going to show you guys how to export this and then load it into your Fantasy Grounds 5e campaign. So thank you guys. Be right back. Alright, so we're totally done. We've created our module. Our images are uploaded, our tokens are in, our encounters are built, everything is done. So now we want to export this into a .mod file. And to do that, you would just want to go into the chat box down here and type in /export/export. And when you do that, it is going to pull up a module export pop-up. And what you're going to want to do is, type in all the pertinent information. This is the Tomb of Tiberish. All right. And then we'll put 5e in parentheses to make sure we know that this is 5e. Now we want to put the thumbnail in there, and to put the thumbnail in there, just go into the Fantasy Grounds, and I want to use this the module cover that I actually had. So we'll go into campaigns, we'll go into the Tomb of Tiberish, we'll go into the images, and there we go. So now it will pull that up, and the name will put the Tomb of Tiberish again, which we'll just kind of drop that in there, and category, we'll put Dungeons and Dragons 5e. Author, Kobold Press wrote this, so we'll put Kobold Press. Merge ID, have no clue what that does. And this is the important thing. Guys, you want to make sure you click all of these buttons. This is all of the information that you're going to be exporting into that mod file. And when you do that, it takes all the images, all the tokens, all the everything, every bit of data, and it basically encodes it and puts it into that mod file. So make sure you have everything checked, and then you want to make sure that you put all the exported tokens in here too, because if you don't put the tokens in here that you used, they will not show up in the mod file. So open up your NPCs, and you will take the tokens. Well, you'll just take these and just kind of the tokens and just kind of drop them in there. Sorry about that. So you take that token, open up the null pack lord, and then you drop that in there, and then there you go. There's your 2 tokens. Alright, now once you have all of that done, just hit export, and voila, the module exported successfully. Now to find this mod is pretty easy. Now we'll just go ahead and back on out of this. We'll go back to the launcher. Alright, so you're going to want to open up the data folder, and it's on the startup screen. So in the top right hand corner, click on this folder and you'll be able to find the data folder. Alright, so here's the folder. Go to modules, and when you go to modules, look for your module. It'll be in there somewhere. There is a bunch of stuff in here, so let's see. There it is, the Tomb of Tiberish. That is your module, and that's it. One more thing, your campaigns. Remember, you created this with a campaign, the Tomb of Tiberish 5e. I called it the master file. Now, I didn't fully finish this. I just put a couple rooms in there. Now, when I go back and finish this, I will just go back, start the game, load a campaign, and I'll go ahead and click on Tomb of Tiberish. I'll enter all of the other rooms, all of the other information, and then I'll export the file again and export all of the new tokens that I'm going to use, because there's a couple mummies in there, a couple were-jackals and stuff. So if you can always modify that mod file, and every time you export it, just make sure you hit those little radial buttons. Check that information, because I've actually forgotten a couple times when it's been real early, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I forget to check those buttons, and then I'm going, what did I do wrong? So don't forget to check those buttons. Alright guys, so now once you're in your campaign, you're going to want to do the same thing as you would, activating any other module that you bought from Fantasy Grounds, or activating the Player's Handbook or DMG or whatever. So let's go into my 5e campaign now, and when it gets done starting up, I will show you what to do. Alright, now that Fantasy Grounds is reloaded, let's go ahead and activate this module. And what we're going to want to do is go to our library and open up our modules, and then now we'll look for the cover of the Tomb of Tiberish, because remember, we put that actual art to the cover, and there it is, voila. And look, there's a little token bag attached and all that stuff. So our Tomb of Tiberish 5e is ready to go, and we just open it up, let it go, and remember, all of our information is in the story tab. And hey, looky here, here's our green tab with the sword, remember? And there's our main story. Voila! The Tomb of Tiberish. There's the art. Here's for the GM. All of the information is just like it was on the part 1. Then part 1 goes on to part 2. It has all of our maps. It has all of our images. It has everything to the way that we left it in the campaign. So there you go, guys. And there's our map. It still has everything memorized from all of the tokens being on it for the encounters and all that stuff. So there's room 8 that we had done with the information, the loot parcel, and there you go, guys. Piece of cake, isn't it? Doesn't really take too much time to make a module. But like I said, guys, it is a little bit time consuming, but the more you do it, the faster you're going to get, and the more efficient you're going to get. So you can pump these up pretty quickly. I can probably do this entire Tomb of Tiberish if I wasn't doing this tutorial in probably about an hour and a half. I mean, it's only about 26 pages, so I mean it's pretty quick. It'd be about an hour and a half to 2 hours, somewhere around there. So, but well, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that helped you out. Guys, feel free to thumbs up this, guys. Also, if you enjoy what you see, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. Got it under. The old video was 3.5 hours, but this one is just a little bit over an hour. So, alright, guys. Thanks again, and until next time, happy gaming.